industry in 50 years' time, I shudder to think with the kind of changes that are taking place in technology, innovation, population dynamics. 50 years is a long time. But if I can be a little more focused, I would see it in the next 5 to 10 years as a different place altogether. There will be significant changes in the type of management. There will be significant changes in the value systems of management. From what we inherited from the British or the colonial past to what we are going to see as privatization going forward, it's going to be different. The type of planters will be different. At the moment they are different. Their values are different. When I got into planting, okay, family background mattered, school background mattered, sports mattered. All these were pointing towards discipline, sense of responsibility that the man carried, and a lot of self-management of the person. Times have changed. Technology is being used now to see whether a planter is on the plantation or not. It was never ever heard of 20, 30 years ago. You were supposed to be in the field, and you were in the field. Today technology is such that from Colombo I can give my boss all the details of what's happening in Agrapatna in field number 5, because your field officer has already sent you the SMS saying so many pluckers came, this. So things are changing. So I could see technology being used more and more. I am a bit surprised and in fact sad that we have not used technology to improve plantations. In terms of like what you said, drones, where we can see a much bigger picture of large agricultural extents than having an assistant manager on a motorcycle sitting in one place. You can do much more than that now. So you don't require so many managers and so many assistant managers we used to have. A drone position somewhere or satellite position somewhere will exactly tell you whatever it is. And if the proprietary interest is given to the people, then what is supervision? You don't supervise the proprietors, but they have inherent desire to improve whatever they are doing. So I can see management, the intensive kind of management that we had earlier for command and control structure becoming very much loose. And even inputs are not going to be just hit and miss. It will be all site specific, where your satellite will tell you this area is short in phosphates. We will add more phosphates here. That area is shallow. We are going to have drought affected symptoms very soon according to the satellite. We are not going to have more than 10 inches of rain in the next 3 months. Now that kind of information I do hope on weather and on the agronomy side to be better used for crop forecasting, for weather forecasting and for input. I can see that happening. It should happen. It has to happen with people getting more and more expensive and people getting less dependable like they used to have been. So I can see technology and IT being used far more, and we are already late. On the other thing is the product innovation. Innovation is not to supply the same tea in a different box, but give it in capsule forms or look at, now yesterday I was looking at a thing where one particular US person had a bad fortune with his wife's diabetes. I don't know whether you saw this. He had researched and researched and researched, and he didn't come up with anything as a cure for diabetes. Ultimately, he chance met a gentleman who told him, I said, the village that I come from in Sri Lanka, it is in the States, we don't have diabetes. And that guy asked, how come? And that is the Vedda community from Dambana, wherever the Veddas live in, they don't have diabetes. So they came down, and the University of Peradeniya is doing some research on what is it that these Veda fellows eat or drink or do that they don't have diabetes. Unfortunately, whoever who did the research had retired or gone or wherever, and they got another gentleman who has now come up with things like garlic, I saw in the picture form, and he has published a book, if you do this you won't get diabetes. They are revamping the pancreas to produce more insulin. Not a question of taking tablets to keep down your high blood sugar. So, in the same way, I am sure tea with the biochemical and organoleptic properties that it has to give more to humanity than just brewing it and drinking it as a cup of tea. I can see those in the next 5 years, 5-10 years. I think there are enough and more people researching, looking at these things, giving it to mice and all this. So all of a sudden this will come. I don't know, it will be a breakthrough thing like you drink so many cups of tea and you won't have cancer. But there may be something that they can isolate. Because you have to drink about 40-50 cups of tea sometimes to get one little thing. So if they can isolate that and improve concentration of that. So IT and product innovation are two areas that I can see the industry benefiting by maybe in another 5 to 10 years. I somehow don't seem to be at the moment bullish enough to think what it will be in 50 years. But I reckon we are not going to have large plantations like this. Crop improvement will give you the same crop in about 1/10 the land area. We need not have such large areas. Maybe irrigation might come in, and of course we have to be very careful about the quality profile. While we on the one side being old hands value the quality profile like the Dilmas, there are the new generation who seem to be thinking it's a generic product, tea is tea, what is this thing about Ceylon tea and Nibulla and whatever. As long as the Metal Fernandes of this world are going to champion that cause, it will remain as a niche. How much longer, I don't know, because they might club the whole thing together and say milk is milk and put all the milk together and call it New Zealand milk, put all the tea together and call it Ceylon tea without giving the variations. But I think, and the new generation of plantation managers who might come in may not really see that value of this differentiation in climate and whatever. So, tea is there is not very many other beverages that are there to replace tea in its natural form and everything. So, tea will remain, I am hoping, it has remained for the last 150 years. Maybe a larger group, if there is enough negative lobby on coffee, tea will gain by that. Unfortunately, the vagaries of tea, the fortunes of tea have always seesawed on the misfortunes of something else. Ceylon tea does well when Kenya tea is affected with frost or whatever. So, coffee is affected by frost and supply is less and demand is more, prices go through the roof, tea prices go up. So, it's all interdependent commodity. So, while not wanting to speculate what it will be in 50 years, certainly in the next 5 years there will be far more technology and innovation that will come into the industry.